Hello, Mr. Mac here. So, okay, I wanted to record this video because, to be honest, I've seen a shortage over the years. Not just in my classrooms, but just in society as a whole. Even before I became a teacher, I started to notice it, and I started thinking, and I've been thinking about it more and more over the years, and I just wanted to record this little video about it. There is a serious shortage. A shortage of questions. Okay? Uh, it is my personal view, based on what I've seen, that we don't ask enough questions. I don't think I do either, and I'm working on it, but, you know, we need to ask more questions. Now, why is this important? Excellent question. So, let's start off with, from an educator standpoint, it helps us learn. And that it goes beyond the classroom, because we learn every day, but think about it this way. Little kid, I'm sure we've all met a young child at some point that continuously asks why. They're always asking why. And you give them an answer, and they ask why again. Answer that why question. Why? Why? It just goes on. And this can get annoying. I know I've been annoyed about it. But is it a bad thing? I mean, the kid is asking questions because kids want to learn. People, I think, want to learn. And it shows their inquisitive nature, that they're trying to figure out society. So now this whole video is based on me noticing a lack of questions over time as people get older. So why does it stop? When does it stop? And why? So, okay, I'm going to look at a couple of things here. I'm going to talk about a couple of things, even though I could go on and on. I'm trying to keep this relatively short. So, questioning, it stops at some point, and I've noticed just a lot of ways. Now, we can keep learning. We can keep learning when we stop asking questions, actively asking questions. You can learn stuff by mindlessly scrolling through social media. Yeah. Okay. Dude, I'm gonna send you. I'll send this to you. Yeah, you gotta see this. So yeah, you can keep learning that way, but I'm gonna address like one or two issues with that here. So, all right. So, what I've noticed in the classroom, just as a teacher, is that often students will stop asking questions. They'll stop working when they think they get to a point where they have enough to answer a question or write enough to complete an assignment or project or what have you. And oftentimes they do. But it's this point of stopping asking questions. And that I've noticed with a fair amount of students that it's not enough. And I get, oh, well, I thought I read enough. Well, did you read the whole assignment? Did you read all of the instructions? Another issue I've seen, reading all the instructions. So, and they don't have enough there. There's probably more to it, but this can help build to a habit of just taking the first bit of information you come across, or taking the first bit of information that you agree with, which is another issue there. Just taking the first thing, oh, this sounds right. Is it though? Is it always right? Maybe. It can be. But what happens when you do this, when you fall into this pattern of taking this first bit of information, or, really taking this first bit of information that you agree with or just sounds good? Well, it creates a couple of things. For one, it just builds on this pattern of feeding your bias, which I'll get to here in a sec. But there's a problem. A lot of social media out there has algorithms that cater to what your interests are. Okay, well, this is not necessarily a bad thing, but it does result in you seeing more of what you want to see, and seeing more views of what you agree with you. Okay, Cool. We all like to hear we're right. Feels good. Cool. We all want to hear stuff that we're interested in. All right. You know, it's feeds our interests. But then what happens when you just don't hear the other side, other viewpoints? Is that bad? Well, think about it this way. Not the most creative characterization, but okay, person A, person B. They get into an argument. So you got two sides to an argument, right? Wrong. At bare minimum, there's three sides to every argument. Bare minimum. There's person A's side, person B's side, and the truth. Because why is there? Why does that truth, most often, from one of my experience anyways, most often differ from either side? It's because of our bias. Everybody has biases. I do. You do. We all do. And biases aren't necessarily a bad thing. We just need to understand them more. And this is a constant struggle for me as well. There's a part of my bias that's feeding me actually making this video, because I'm seeing something and it I see it as an issue. You may not, and that's fine. That's cool. But I see it as an issue. So my bias is feeding it. I'm trying to do this in a way that doesn't, well, I'm not finding the right word right now. Sorry. Not all of us can find the right words at the right moment. But anywho, we need to understand our own biases in order to not necessarily get past them, but keep them in check. Because you don't want your bias overfed, because that will lead to narrowing your viewpoints into just excluding anything that disagrees with that. Which, just because somebody may disagree with you, or some other viewpoint doesn't agree with yours, it's not a bad thing. It just depends on their life experiences, their understandings, your life experiences, your understandings. And so this actually goes into, why is asking questions important outside of school? Yeah, I want all my students to ask questions. Ask away. Ask as many as you can think of. But is this important outside of school too? Think about various jobs. Pure software programmer. Okay, you run into an issue. You got to start asking questions in order to solve that issue, right? If you're a construction worker, you may not be actively asking questions, but you got to ask questions to make sure you have the right materials, the right tools, the right instructions. If something ends up wrong, if you're supplied everything that, like a kit, everything that you're told that you need, what if something goes wrong? What if an accident happens? And I'm asking questions here, saying what if, but what if an accident happens? What if there's a material shortage? You don't get everything you need. Well, you got to start asking questions in order to get to the bottom of whatever issue you come across. And it goes for any jobs. And here's where we get into a touchy subject, all right? Especially right now. We're in election season. Politics. Big societal issues. Now, first of all, I want to make it clear. I am not going to sit here and tell you who to vote for any given office. I am not going to sit here and tell you what stance to take on any given issue. That is not my job. Even as a teacher, even in my classroom, that is not my job. My job is to help my students become critical thinkers in order to take whatever viewpoint they have and back it up. And part of that is understanding the other side. So you need to understand both sides to an issue. If you don't, then you can't critically argue your own viewpoints. You really just can't. Yeah. So you need to understand where another viewpoint comes from. So who's arguing it? Why are they arguing it? Why are they arguing different from you? Now, I've seen this, and this is part of the reason why I'm making this little video, is I've seen this. People will jump to conclusions. Oh, that's just because of this. Oh, that's just because of that. Okay, you're not asking the right questions. Now, there is a method to asking questions, and there's studies done on it, but I'm not going to get into that right here. all I want you to do is start off by asking why. Be that, be that little annoying kid. Ask why. Something comes up and it disagrees with you. Why does it disagree with you? And then that will help you get into what's going on. Why is there a difference there? What is happening? There's always going to be another issue there. And I'm going to tell you, there may not be a right answer. So it may not be a good answer that you agree with. It may not be a good answer that another side agrees with. But if everybody's asking more questions, it can help you compromise. Because without compromise, democracy dies. Just saying. So ask those questions. And you know, when you're watching the news, and okay, I'm not going to rant about what news source is valid and what is fake or anything. All I'm going to say is wherever you get your information from, ask questions about it. Don't just take it for face value. I'm guilty of taking it for face value too, but trying to work on that. Ask. And I'm not trying to get you to start getting into deep methods of questioning, but just start off by asking why. And now, I think I've gone on long enough, and I could go on even longer, and I still might do more on this. We'll just have to see. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it at there. So I'm going to leave you with more questions. Do you think you ask enough questions? If you think you do, why? Why do you think you ask enough questions? If you think you don't, again, why don't you think you ask enough questions? Just think about it for a little while. Questioning. All right? Have a nice day.